Six pack Lapadat. We got Money Mo, Matt Gary. You still go by Money Mo when you remember? Remember
Mate,
you
I
won
don't.
that?
That was
I
ages
don't think
ago.
you
I
ever
got
did. We
no.
just called you Money Mo because you won that money meet, and it was
That was it. It was I won one meet, and then he's just stuck with me the whole time. It's funny
that's
because
right.
everyone keeps on telling me I dropped money at Sheffield when I dropped 391. So
So
it's
this
not the
is
best nickname.
dog. You're just Money Mo now. I don't know. It sounds good. Anyways, anyways, um, it is the women's preview show. If you haven't heard the men's, you want to double in there and grab the men's preview show. But we'll be looking on the women's side for the European Championships. Matt Gary, of course, the head coach of Team UK. And Mo, you've been to European Championships. You're familiar with the European scene. So let's jump in like we always do at the smallest weight class, work our way to the end in the 47 kilo weight class. I won't chew up too much of your guys' information here, but we have a bit of a spread from the rest of the ladies from Italy. And Italy, you're going to find, has got a lot of top end lifters here at the European Championships, probably a nation on the rise. But Delita, I do with my research. So her squat nominated 146, and just 2 days ago, I seen she squatted 150. So with a spread that she already has, a nominated 381, and the second from Georgia, Marie, with 320. And I'll put a pin in that because I found some information there. But the spread there of 61 kilos, these ladies in the 47 need Delita Mary from Italy to be off her game, all types of sorts to have any kind of hope. Well, she's looking like she's at her very best. So she is as lock as you're going to get for a gold medal with a spread like that. The big questions around her really is, can she get that 381 closer to the 400 kilo mark and start being a factor at the possible world championships? We'll see. Um, Italy's on the rise, especially on the women's side. And she's going to be one of those ladies that needs some representation in the 47 kilo class. Speaking of, Marie from Georgia, the second nominee. In my research, I could not find her on Instagram. Now, some people don't go by, have any kind of even reference to their actual names. So I'm not saying she's not on Instagram. I could not find her. But when I did do my research on her in open powerlifting, I see only one bench only in open powerlifting. And it is the 60 kilos in there. Now, I'm not saying she hasn't done 320. She is from Georgia, and there's a possibility that some of her comps didn't make their way into open powerlifting. So I'll give her the benefit of the doubt because that 60 kilos that we see on her nominations also is corroborated with the 60 kilos in open powerlifting and her bench only. So if that's legit, I'm willing to give her the benefit of the doubt that the 320 is legit, which makes her nomination in second. Um, I mean, she's a rightful second. However, put a pin in it because Miriam Sanchez of Spain, since 2020, 6 meets. I again didn't find her on Instagram. Doesn't mean she doesn't have Instagram, but I couldn't find it. All of her 6 meets are within Spain. No international competitions that I could see. So this will be her debut. And Marie from Georgia, also her debut on the international scene. They're just 2.5 kilos apart. So we have two ladies, 2.5 kilos apart, looking like they're going to be battling it on the podium. And what color of medal they're going to get, I'm not sure. And I'm assuming your guys' research is similar to mine when you have two people that don't have international presence previously. I couldn't find them on Instagram. In open powerlifting, you're not going to get a whole heck of a lot, either only operating, looks like just domestically. And coming out of Georgia, not a lot of meet competitions making their way into open powerlifting. So there's not a lot to take away from here. If we get anything from it, we know it's going to be a battle on the podium. And we also know gold medal is probably going to be out of reach given that kind of spread. Are you guys pretty much, and I could say Joanna Clark from Ireland, from what I've seen, she's only been doing nationals and Western Euros in terms of international competition as well. And she's just 2.5 kilos off of Miriam Sanchez from Spain. So it looks like in the 47 kilo class, we got some growth here. We got some people that are new to the international competitions, very close. Now, I've named three of these ladies, all pretty close in terms of their totals. So I think it will be a battle to get onto the podium and what color of medal they're going to get, etc. But it's going to be interesting to see because whatever you do domestically and on the smaller competitions, I don't got to tell you, gentlemen, it's going to be entirely different when you meet IPF standards at an international level. You got to travel, cut weight, etc. But there's not a heck of a lot you're going to find. I couldn't find some of these Instagrams. Do you fellas have anything else besides that I got?
No, I think that there were no Instagram account or they're either private, but I think the like you said, second and third is gonna it's just gonna fall on who executes the best because all the deadlifts are fairly similar, the squats are close enough, the bench is close enough. They're all separated by 2.5 kilos. I mean, that's as close as it gets. They might as well match on total at this point. So I think second and third is going to be a very interesting battle.
Mhm. And I am
I
interested in
mean,
seeing if the Italian can push closer to 400 kilos and what she might end up bringing. Because the more 47s over 400, the better, especially when we start going into the World Championships. And I am the Italian team, man. They're pretty solid all around usually. Italy's got shooters. Put a pin in that. Let's move on to the 52 kilo class. Now, if we had a hard time finding some of the research on some of the 47s, you won't have too much of a hard time in the 52s. We have some familiar names here: world record breakers, world champions. Um, I got some notes here, but I talked a lot for the 47s. I don't want to burn too much. Any of you guys want to throw in some for the 52s before I go?
I'll go for the 50Ts, and I'm gonna
Sure.
do a bit of random mats here, so I apologize.
All right.
Um, Declan Spoon looks amazing. When Declan, I believe she competed, I can't remember it was Girl Power, where she squatted 180. Her best triple, or in the lead up to that 180 squat, was 157.5 for three. That's what she did. So it was on social media, and that's the data I have currently. It's 157.5 triple, and she puts up 180 on the platform. She's currently done 162.5 for triple in the lead up to Euros. So if I'm just going to try and draw trajectory from there, I'm expecting her to be pushing well. I mean, she's going to be taking that world record and European record for a ride. It's a question. I know she will chip it, but the question is, does she want to go 176 or does she want to blow off the waters and do something like 177, 178, 180? You know, but her training looks amazing right now. At least the squat side of things, deadlift seems to be trending on the right path. But apart from that, we also have a return Naomi Albert. You know, the legend. I know Evie has sort of moved into this weight class and is taken away from it a little bit, but Naomi used to run things before Evie moved down. And then we've got in for third place, we've got a battle which will be very interesting to see how that plays out also.
So I'll add some notes there as well. Sorry, Matt, do you mind if I go? We're gonna end up
Oh no,
chewing.
please,
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
no, no, please
All
go
right.
right ahead.
All right, because I know you obviously have the one-on-one consultations with Team Britain. So for the non-British, I know we're going to chew up each other's notes here, but it is what it is. So snowballing a little more off Plun in terms of her bench, she's hit 83.5 multiple times. She took that for a triple, and her platform is 90.5. So doing some math there, I think she's probably going to be around that ish, or maybe hit a PR there. For the deadlift, I seen her take 165 for a double. Platform best is 177.5. I do think she's going to absolutely smoke that. I got the same as you, Mo. I think she's going to absolutely destroy that squat record. The big thing is going to be Noemi Aliber. And here's where things get interesting. We could have a battle. Noemi, for a little while there, was off form, dealing with injuries. She wasn't at 100% for a while there. Noemi looked untouchable previously, circa 2021, 2022. Like she was just an absolute monster. And then Evie came around and everything changed. But her and Plune have battled several times. And Noemi's used to the international scene and she's starting to rebound. I seen 160 a nominated squat. She hit 160 kilos in early February. That's good for Noemi to start squatting 160 kilos again. Nominated 190 kilos for a deadlift. I seen her pull 180 kilos in January. She's been dealing with injuries. For her to be getting around these top end is positive for Noemi. If she's on her top end, if she's healthy, she's going to end up around 435-ish range. And Plune Deckers with a nominated 443, which is monstrous. And Plune is an absolute freaking monster out there. But we might have a battle on our hands. Noemi's gone as high as 440s. Noemi's gone as high as 450s. Noemi at 100%, God knows where we're shooting. I think it might be a little too much, 35 years old, dealing with injuries, to think that Noemi's going to fully roll back the clock to be 100%. But I would love to see if she's good enough to push Plune and we have ourselves a battle for the gold medal. Would love to see that. She's starting to rebound a little bit. Let's see what happens with a good solid taper in there. And the Austrian, just for a bit of contrast to how her training's been going, with a nominated 143, I've seen her squat 140, a nominated 97 and a half on bench. I've seen her bench 100. And it wasn't completely to comp standards, but still, she took 100 kilos, which is a decent bench or a good bench for the 52 kilo class. And then with a nominated 177.5, I seen her deadlift 172.5 and totaling, I mean, she's capable. She's got the highest good lift points of all time in Austria. She's Austria's finest lifter, and it looks like she's poised for a possible podium finish at the European Championships. However, Alexandra Arenatovic of Serbia, who has podium at the European Championships before, is returning representing Serbia. And she's no slouch herself. She's coming in with a nominated total of 417.5. And she hasn't been posting a lot, but if you've been paying attention to her stories, her nominated 152.5. I seen her squat today 140 for a triple. It's hard to necessarily do math on what does a triple get you in terms of a single. But if you're tripling 140, I got to think you're around at least on form for 152 and a half ish. So, and if Alexandra is on form, and like I said before, she has medaled at the European Championship previously, she's a threat. So we are going to have a battle at the top, and I think it'll be a bit of a spread depending on where Noemi is, and a battle for the bronze as well. This is a good showdown in the 52 kilo class. And these women are obviously world class. You got world champions, you got world record breakers. This is one of the better battles we got at the European Championship here, gentlemen. So, anyways, and just by chance, um, we don't have, do we have a Brit in this lineup at all in the 52s?
No,
No.
sir.
No, we do not. So there it is. I know I talked a lot there, Matt, but I'm gonna let you I know
No,
you
it's
don't
all
got a
good.
Brit in it, you don't got a horse in the race, so the scouting didn't have to be quite as deep. And I know you got the inside track, literally sitting down with some of these ladies for the game planning in the other classes. But speaking of moving into the 57 kilo class, so we got some veterans here. We also got a Brit, so I'll throw it for you to the Brit. But if I may cover some of the ground in the 57 kilo class, I am familiar with some of these
Please.
ladies here, and then I'll let you guys speak on the Brit, and we'll talk about what we might be able to anticipate. But Pal Sauvan from France, part of the equipe, coached by Penna, 4 international comps, the bronze medalist at the World Championships that just passed. She's going to the World Games, has not been posting. Don't know what to take away from this, but she's got obviously all-star coaching with a coach like Penna, who's coached many lifters to World Championships. She's medaled at the World Championships. She's going to the World Games. All of that's already secure. A star for France in the 57 kilo class. Jad Jacob obviously has a bit of a shadow coming out of France in the 57 kilo class, but you can't look past Pal. If Jad wasn't around, Pal would be right there. And look, she's medaling at the World Championships. This is no slouch. This is a hell of a 1-2 punch by France. And Jad Jacobs not in the lineup. France is perfectly well healthy with a lifter like Pal. Looking at the nominations, she's in the lead over the Brit, which I'll let you guys talk about, but it's 12 kilos. And she hasn't been posting. I don't know. Maybe Pal's been making massive gains, maybe not. I'm not entirely sure. We'll skip over to the third before we go to the Brit with you guys, but I see Maya da Silva Diaz from Spain. Maya, phenomenal lifter, won a bronze medal herself at the World Championships in 2023, won a gold in the 2022 Junior World. She was a Junior World star. Speaking of Jad Jacob, was a rival in the juniors with Jad and actually defeated Jad in 2022 Junior Worlds. We see a squat 180 kilos, RPE 5-ish. Most of her lifting she posts in her stories. So if you're doing research, it's difficult. It's literally gone within 24 hours because she posts in her stories. But she's only competed once in 2024, but she's class. We've seen her medal at the Open World Championships. She's deadly. Exactly where it's going to fall, it kind of sort of depends. Where's Team Britain here? Now, what can you tell us here, man?
Yeah, so we've got Adejoke Adeteo at our as is our 57 kilo representative, and she's coming in top form. She's coached by her fellow teammate here, Joey Diva, who represents us in the 66 kilo class. And I did our game planning and strategy call with the two of them just the other day. And mind you, if we refer back to her PB total here, 478, which was recently done at the British, that was with 2 missed attempts, right? She missed her third squat and her third pull. So there's more meat on the bone there. She has already matched the world record in the squat at 188, which is held by Shad Chakab. So that is certainly in our sights and and on our bingo card, so to speak. You know, we want to try to grab that chip to our advantage and use that toward the total. And it's just about making lifts. And I'll also say this, you know, her PB deadlift is 202.5, and I'm not going to lay all of our cards on the table, but just let me say this. She has hit significant above 202.5 in training, and it was cozy. I mean, comfortable. So Adejoke is ready to rock. She's coming in top form, and I'm just really excited to what she's going to be able to put together. So, yeah, it's just one of those things where, you know, I don't know if we're quite at a 500 kilo total yet, but we're starting to get really close. So
let me throw this out there and I'll get your opinion, Mo. I just want to say, like, I think this is all closer than everyone thinks. Just for a little bit more context here, talking about Maya da Silva Diaz out of Spain. When you look at these nominated totals and you see for her deadlift, hold on a second, 197.5. And she's already close to the other lady. She's already close, but 197.5. I watched her at Junior Worlds load up 210.5. 210.5, and it got called on a down up. She locked it out. So throw away, if you're looking at this thinking, well, 197.5, who got a deadlift advantage over her?
Right.
Nobody might have a deadlift advantage over her. I'm just saying. And that was as a junior in 2022. Now she's in the open in 2025. She's fierce. Like when called upon, she will load and she will fire. And it was controversial. That 210.5, that could have swung either way in terms of whether that would have passed. The 57 kilo class is going to be a battle. And these nominations, to your point, Matt, and I know you guys are probably pretty confident in your lifter and probably got reason to be, but Pal has not been posting either. And
right.
you know she's class, and you know she's literally trains with Penna, Leah, Turbo Tiff, like all the keep. They're monsters. And then you got Maya da Silva, whom it's deceiving if you look at her numbers. She's got weapons and she might be pulling last. She's that type. It depends on where she wants to rest. What might happen when you have a battle like this and these ladies are as close as they might be is if someone reaches and misses and you ought to have tried to pull for silver instead of gold or ought to have tried to secure bronze instead of going for gold. This is where people might fall off a position or right off the podium. And there is question marks around some of these ladies. Like, where is Maya? If you haven't been following Maya and looking in her stories, now I'm gleaming here and there, but it's up and gone in 24 hours. I can just tell you, I know she's been training. I know she hasn't been laying around just not taking a year off, even though she's only competed once in 2024. She's not slowing down like you might think. Um, I don't know, Mo. This one's a tough one for me to call. What are you thinking here?
It's a tough one. And like you said, there are battles everywhere, which is what makes this weight class really fun. Like starting first up, we have the battle between the Silva and the Dijake for squat. I genuinely don't think that 188 kg world record is gonna stand because I know we haven't seen anything heavy. Heaviest we've seen for Maya so far is 180 at RP5, but she has done 190 for a single already, and she has hit 490 kilos. This was last year, mid last year, but she has hit a 490 kilo training total. So as to whether 188 is going to stand at the end of the squat session, I 100% doubt that. I think either the jockey or um, the silver is going to be taking that. Now, when you start to build towards the total, I genuinely think that the three lifters, Pau, the jockey, and the silver, are all in a separate league right now. And I think they're looking to be totaling anywhere between 480 minimum, because we know the jockey already missed attempts on the squat. We know that squat is going to be blowing up straight away. We know that Silva has this massive potential. I remember back when she was still, I mean, I don't know if she's still a junior right now, but I remember the hype between her and Jad. It was her and Jad coming up, and obviously she's sort of gone into the background, and Jad has had this amazing illustrious career so far. The Silva's been looking at that from the background and going, we were neck and neck, you know. So maybe she's thinking, you know, it's like the boxing. I was there training with you. Maybe now's the time for me to come into the limelight. She has been waiting. So I think from the beginning, from the get-go, the squat battle is going to be amazing to watch. But as soon as we get into the total, I think we're gonna, and all these lifters pull 200 plus. So it's gonna be an absolute firework.
Yeah, it's gonna this is a good battle. Right down to sorry, go ahead, Matt.
No, I was just going to say I agree with everything that Mo just said, and that's where that squat chip is going to be so valuable, right? Because the European and the European and world records are out of reach for every lifter in terms of the bench and the deadlift disciplines. So the squat is where, you know, it's going to be available for the taking between, presumably, you know, Adejoke and Maida Silva. So it's, you know, lot number comes in and attempt selection is going to be critical. And then, and you know, and yeah, it's everything's going to come down to making lifts, going 9 for 9, not missing, not overextending, et cetera. So yeah, this is going to be tight, and it's going to come right down to the end.
Whenever you got a battle that's good with world records that could possibly fall like in the squat, you got a good one.
It's
You got
huge.
a good one. And when you have people like especially I'm so interested in what the heck is going on with Pal and where she might be. Because okay, let me ask you gentlemen right now. Does the winner of this go over 500 kilos? Matt, you go first. Or sorry, Mo, look like you're about to go. You go first.
Yeah, let Mo go.
Let Matt go first.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think we're going to see a fight because they're so close. And what you normally see in battles, sometimes we love this previews and again, the habit myself, we just forecast and say everyone's going to smash it out of the water. When the competition is so close, it becomes a game of who's going to flinch first, you know?
Right.
And sometimes you can run your own race and smash it, but then you risk if I taken the right attempt, would have leveraged myself into a better position by the time we get to deadlifts, I can pull for the lead and take everything. So I think these lifters are all aiming. I think Pau has the 490. I think she needs to hit 490 plus to secure. If Pal is around 492, 490, then the jockey and the silver are 100% pulling for the win. So I don't think Pau will have the opportunity to load for 500. More like she'll be defending position the whole time.
It depends on where you think Adejoke and Maya are going to end up. If you think Pal's like, oh, you're going to push me to that, it's tough. You're right though. You reach and you overreach. Now the door swings open. It's going to be super close. Matt, what do you think? Does the winner get pushed in? Not doing it out of like ego, but gets pushed to they have to hit 500 to win.
I agree with Mo. I don't think so. Nope.
Only time will tell. Only time will tell. I can't wait to see it because I know like these ladies are fierce, and I know like to your point, Mo, about the rivalry between Jad and Maya, it was freaking fierce, and Maya will load up like on that final dead. She like let's go, and she will load it. It's crazy. And she's got a big deadlift on her, so we'll see what happens with these ladies. Also, side notes, I can tell you, Miriam Emery from Netherlands, world's veteran, and the weights have been moving well for her as well. But I agree with you, gentlemen, at the podium. Those three ladies we mentioned at the top, there's a spread between them and the rest of the pack. If they super start falling off and start really missing, Miriam's got a chance there, close enough to keep them honest. But I think there's a big enough spread. It's those three. We got the big three. It's just, and they're probably going to walk away with medals. What color are their medals going to be? we're gonna have to battle it out and sort it out and find out. Yeah, it'll be a good one. Moving on to the 63s. And we got ladies from Netherlands, Great Britain, Austria, Spain again. Spain on the rise. We got a couple lifters from Britain. I know you guys got some inside scoops. Um, maybe I'll throw it to Money Mo first, and then Matt, you could talk about some of your inside scoops as well, because I know you're going to be handling.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'll take the lead on the one. So I think we have Kaylee Sue, who genuinely speaking looks like a phenom. As of right now, she's coming with a 519 kilo total, so she's got a significant gap on the rest of the group. But the training I'm seeing so far, I mean, there is fatigue singles, and then there is what she's doing. I mean, she's matched, so she's done 190 for a single, but this is after doing a 150 triple, a 160 triple, 170 triple, a 180 triple. Just
That's great.
volume before doing the 190 single itself. Bench is pretty much the exact same thing. She's matched the best bench in training using the exact same format, and deadlift was a post triple with 190. So I wouldn't be surprised to see her push well into the 520s maybe, and I think that's probably where she's aiming for. In terms of record, I don't think she's close to any. Actually, really, the squat record would have been a 214. I don't think we'll see her load 214. I think we'll probably maybe see her wanting to attempt a 200 kilo squat. Is probably what she'll be aiming for. But then after that, there's Sabrina, who's phenomenal athlete, amazing squat, more of a subtotal, and then just builds that and secures it with a deadlift. But for third place, which has got an absolute bloodbath. I think all the way from Sahiru, Makeda, Ruiz, and Pantia, I
Tia?
think Pantia, we're just gonna see lifters all loading for that final pull.
I could give you a little bit more, and I'll throw it to Matt as well. So Pentia, I'm used to seeing her at the World Championships, veteran there. I seen her, she's nominated 177.5 squat. She was tripling 167 and a half. She's nominated. Now here's the big one. She's nominated with a 110 bench. I seen her bench 112 and a half. So she's definitely on point. If you're wondering where she's at in terms of strength levels, is training me going good, bad, whatever, she's going to be on point. I expect probably going to see some PR total out of her. And you already mentioned how close it is. So she's going to need that. She's also been, just a side note, hats off to her, doing a lot of speaking engagements and stuff like that. Like, and I mean, full on. It looks legit. She's doing a damn thing. I don't speak Austrian. I got no idea what she's saying, but God bless. We need people like her to push the sport forward. And I would love to find out what if she's talking about powerlifting or whatever, or like you was telling her story. That's amazing. So hats off to her. But yeah, she's a veteran of the game, 35 years old in the European Championships, and I've seen her around at Worlds for quite some time now. Um, and also, sorry, I was pulling up my notes here. Soto Ruiz from Spain here. Fifth at last Euros, fourth at Junior Worlds. I seen her do 197.5 for a set of four on deadlifts. This is back in January 3rd. Now she's pulled 205 for her nominated deadlift. So she's doing 197.5 for a set of four. I'm assuming her strength levels are high. This is early January though. We're already in mid-March. I mean, some of these people aren't posting a heck of a lot, so you have their open powerlifting, what they've done, and you're trying to glean where you at right now. As long as nothing's happened since early January, she's going to be going way up in terms of all of her numbers. But a lot can happen since then. But she has been at girl. She's a girl power veteran. She's been in terms of Europe, girl power's way up there. I know. I don't think officially it's an international meet, but you have literally stars like I get the Shitco, and I mean Leah Baba, Turbo Tiff, like girl power's massive. She's going to be used to the hype and everything around it. So she's a veteran and she's a fast mover here. And we also have another Brit here. I don't want to chew up all your information here, Matt. If you want to jump in with some of your thoughts on this, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean everything you guys said is on point. We've got two representatives in this class. We've got Sabrina Downs and Makeda Vidal. Sabrina is coached by Meg Scanlon, another 63, obviously, that everybody's familiar with. And my wife Susie will be handling the chores there. And Sabrina's training is looking good. She's on point. She recently totaled, I guess it was, I believe it was 487.5 at the British, but she's done 490. I think that was from Girl Power. but she's looking to come in and hit some PBs. I don't know if she's going to be in that 520 plus range that Mo's talking about with Kaylee Sue there. But yeah, Sabrina, looking at these totals and there's a tight cluster there from 2 through 5, two through 6 even. Again, it comes down to attempt selection. If I talk about Makita just for a second, she's coached by my fellow cohort, Peach, Alex Pearson Jones. Her training is phenomenal. So she has already taken, if you look at these nominated numbers here, she has already hit those and above at lower RPEs than meet RPEs. So her arrow is definitely pointing up in the right direction. And I think we would be remiss if we didn't say, hey, we're trying to get both of these Brits on the podium. And I think things are trending that way. So this is another class where it's just going to come down to prioritizing, making the right calls, the lifters going out and executing. And I know I sound like a broken record when I say that, but it's like you want to use every single bullet in your gun. And Sabrina and Makeda both seem primed to do that.
Yeah, Makeda nominated 185.5 squat, and she squatted 190 a week ago.
Yeah.
And nominated 197.5 on the deadlift, and she's doubling 205.
That's right.
What are we talking about here? What are we
Yeah.
talking about? This is where sometimes nominations, like, you can get caught sleeping if you don't follow them on social media and do your due diligence. But then you have some lifters who won't post, and you're just going to get caught sleeping then, unless you got a mole inside their training camp. It's difficult.
So like I said, Sabrina had a really good call with Susie the other day, and her game plan is looking on point. And of course, Makeda is coached by Peach. And as you said, Ryan, she's already taken above these numbers here, and the RPs, it's just insane. So I'm really excited for these two ladies.
Good battle in the 63s. As we move on into the 69s, let me pull up my notes here, gentlemen. We have, I'll set the table and we can all talk about it. Obviously, we got a Brit in here, so I'm assuming you guys will have some inside track, particularly Matt. You probably sat down and had some conversations with this young lady, but a returning veteran, Mart Jenner, representing Norway, made it to Sheffield as a reserve. We've seen it at the World Championship several times. Mart has always had the potential in the 69 kilo class. Tons of potential. But she's even mentioned how she had a string of meets where she just wasn't living up to that potential. And it's spoken openly about it. It's been difficult for her. Like, she has moments where she might even be the one to win the worlds, but couldn't pull it all together on specific days. Well, if you're looking at her training, nominated 190 squat, seen her hit 202.5 squat. Nominated 230 deadlift, seen her hit a 235 deadlift. Nominated, and this is a big one, nominated 130 bench, I seen her hit 140 kilo bench. That's a 10 kilo improvement on bench. And when it's 130, we're not talking about a 105 male putting 10 kilos on their bench. We're talking about 69 kilo female throwing 10 kilos on their bench. These are massive jumps. So her nominated 550, you start adding up those kilos. My God, where are we at here? Now, take a pause, because she's gotten us excited before, and putting on the platform's entirely different. But that could be a potentially monstrous total here in the 69 kilo class by Mark Jenner at the European Championships. You follow, you do your research, you follow her training, you see the pathways. But I say with bated breath, let's see what happens. I'll let you guys talk about the Brit. But moving past that, in France, Arena, a juniors, 5-year veteran, junior and European world champion. Junior Euros and junior world champ from 2024, and has been doing world since 2021. She's a veteran of the game despite her young age, and coming in nominated just below the Brit with 532.5. And I anticipate all of her numbers going to go up as well. And Georgia from Italy, nominated at 530. And if you're looking at some of her lifts here, I've seen her take 210 for a set of 4. That's a PR. Pause. That's for deadlifts. And her deadlifts is 217.5. So she's deadlifting 210 for a set of 4. I'm expecting 217.5 is no longer her best deadlift. That's going to go up. Her squat nomination is 202.5. I watched her pause squat 200 kilos. That squat is, yes, it's going to go up. These ladies are coming in ready for battle. Um, she's a silver medalist at Junior Worlds and silver medalist at Junior Euros. Arch rival, Italy versus France of Andorina. We're going to run it back. They're only 2.5 kilos away from each other on the nominations in 3 and 4th. Obviously, Andorina nudged it out and took gold in both Junior Worlds and Junior Euros in 2024. And Georgia took silver. Well, let's see what happens here because they're both trending high. Now I'm going to let you talk about Tasman Campbell and tell me about that training, but it looks like we got some battles on the horizon.
Yeah, Mo, do you want to lead in with Tasman, and then I'll come up
I
after
think
you?
Yeah, there's no worries then. I think Tasman went through. So just introduce Tasman. Tasman, the Masters lifter now, and she currently
Yes.
has the highest female GL points ever as an M1 lifter, which is absolutely insane. So I think she's enjoying the Masters era. She seems to be ready to take it all, every single record if possible. So I think she's just coming to this competition to add more to accolades, if anything. I think Tasman had a period of knee injuries and just trying to regain her squat. Everything seems to be clicking back in form now. She's done 185, which is just 1 kilo off her best squat ever in the gym. So I think everything's looking good. Her deadlift is where she really shines, though. That subtotal secures her position, and then she just pulls wherever she needs. She's pretty much, it's arguable, you can say she's got the best deadlift in this flight with 232.5 already done in competition, but she pulled up very easy 230. So I'm pretty sure she'll just be watching. I think it's Marta's to go, like it's hers to lose. I doubt she will mess up this one. I think she's looking to come in and go into the 560s potentially because her training looks really good. But I think Tasman is just going to be there. And I know Matt will be in the corner. Sit back, let everyone do their fancy thing, lift whatever loads you want to lift, and just put whatever I need to do to get my second so I can come home with my medal.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think Mo touched on it beautifully. I mean, I had a really good strategy with call with Tasman and her coach, and that's exactly what we're thinking. You know, she's looking to add a little bit on her squat, but as Mo said, she builds the lion's share of her total on the back end. You know, she's good. She's a good bencher, and she's a really good deadlifter. And her training's been on point, and she's healthy, and I think she's feeling better now than she has felt in quite a while. And so, as Mo said, first might be a bit out of reach, but we definitely want to, secure second and get her obviously as high on that podium as we possibly can. She's a heck of a lifter.
As long as March shows up, like we think she's like judging off of her training.
Yeah.
I think you guys are right. Gold's probably a little out of reach, and you don't want to reach for gold with the ladies chasing down silver like we got. It's very closely contested,
Right.
and they're PRing and training, so it's it's going to be tight. You don't know what they're going to show up with come that day, if everything falls into place. I'll also give a shout out to Ivana Horna, who's nominated 5th. Ivana, obviously a former world champ, previously dividing her attention between powerlifting and Olympic lifting, and now is solely focusing on powerlifting and been all over the world, highly decorated. I think it's 2017 she won the world championships. And all
No.
this time later, we're still here. So shout out to Ivana 2025 and still battling these young lions like she is. But yeah, good breakdown here, gentlemen. Anything more you think we should add to the 69s? Good to move on to the 76s. And as we take a look, at the top, anyways, it appears to be a battle of France. Now, Laura Motalin, absolutely monstrous bench press on Laura. I seen her take 150, huge bench press. What is the world record at 76, by the way? One of you gentlemen can look up the world record because she's took 150 in the gym. Now, she didn't
135 is the
squat yet.
bench record.
Yeah, it's
Sorry?
Agatha.
It's Agatha. Unfortunately, it's just
It's
Agatha. That's where the
And
problem is.
what is it? 160-ish?
150.
155.
0.5.
155?
Yeah, yeah,
Look at
155.
155. I saw Laura take 150. 155, that's 5 kilos on bench. I'm not saying, but like that's pretty damn close to it though. Like that's pretty wild when you think about it. It's Agatha, and she's that close anyways. 150 is a monster freaking bench for a 76. So here we are, Laura, former junior world champ, took 150. I seen her also take 240 kilos on deadlift. She hit in December, if you want to go back a little ways. She hit 250 kilos on deadlift, and she's nominated with 235. We are well above that in terms of her deadlift. In terms of the bench press, nominated with 145. So we're 20 kilos above these nominated lifts just looking at her bench press and her deadlift. And she's nominated with 572.5. You start doing the math here a little bit. You start doing the math here a little bit. That's 20 kilos. We're getting close to 600 kilos now, fellas. I mean, that's a sweet spot when you start becoming in the open at the World Championships, a contender on that podium. And I haven't seen a whole heck of a lot in terms of the squat. I'm not entirely as comfortable to say what she might end up with on the squat. I also don't know the body weight if she has to cut or whatnot. So obviously, I'm gleaming from these gym lifts. But Laura's in a position here. I think she's got a bit of a spread, and I want to ask you guys. I ask you right now, does she hit 600? Matt, you go. Okay, Mo, you go first. Looks like you're about to go.
I think she will load if she does what she thinks she can do. So we're talking about a 150 bench, and let's say, considering how well deadlifts is going, she's added Lex another 5 kilos on the squat. I think she'll potentially load the deadlift to go for 600. But I don't know if she'll get it. That's the only problem. I don't think
It
now's the
depends.
time to do 600 euros. I think really you want to build momentum toward IPF Worlds because 76 on the world stage is stacked, and really you want to be in your best shape for that.
Matt, you're shaking your head. Yes, you think that's probably the
Yes,
right strategy.
yep, I co-sign everything Mo just said. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look at she's coming though. Nevertheless, by the time she gets to the World Championships, it's starting to be. You got to be 600 and up if you want to make that podium. You got obviously Crane in from the U.S. You got like too many killers, and they're all going to be 600 up in the 76s now. So it is what it is. Laura Perrault is also in the mix, coming from France. It's difficult when it comes to Laura. She's her training, her and her brother Nico both do sub max training numbers. And then on the day of, I mean, Laura's been at the world championships, won, in the juniors and been at so many different world championships and international competitions. So, and she's handled by and coached by the strength guys. So they know what they're doing. But if you're looking at her nominated squat 197.5, and then you look, she's squatting 180. That's just normal for her. That's how they train her. That's how they bring her in. When she has a nominated 235 kilo deadlift, but you've seen her pull 220, like she's going to be ready. You can't glean too much off of these numbers because some people hit their PRs or over their PRs in training and it comes down a little bit when they get onto the platform. Other people, they operate submaximal. And that's the sweet spot for them. And then when they hit the platform, you can see those big numbers. Clara also relatively new to the 76 kilo class. I don't know where her body weight's at, but she conceivably can eat into this very comfortable, doesn't have to cut any weight. And these numbers will only go up and up and up due to that as well. So an extra little caveat there. Um, from Finland, did a little research here. Ellen has a nominated 206 squat. I've seen her hit 186. Nominated 117.5. I seen her hit 110. Nominated 215 deadlift, sorry. And I seen her hit a 200 kilo deadlift. Take what you will from that. Again, not everybody's going to be hitting their PBs right up into the on in the gym and on the platform could still go over the personal best. But that's where she's at, anyways. And Agnes Rudin, former junior world champion in the 69 kilo class, again, veteran of the international scene, worlds, Euros. She's won world championships as a junior. And I've seen her take 175 for a double. I've seen her take 205 for a single in January. and this is on the squat, and her squat PB is 200 kilos. So at the very least in January, which is a stitch away, I got you. She's not posting a whole heck of a lot. She's going over her personal best. And again, she also was a former 69, just like Clara. As a matter of fact, her and Clara were arch rivals in the juniors, handed each other defeats, won junior worlds to over each other. They're rivals, and one moves up to 76. Oh, well, look at that. The other moves up to 76 as well. So the same case in terms of Clara, where Agnes gets to eat into this weight class and conceivably does not have to cut weight, and it should be very comfortable for her. But she was hitting personal best back in January, and with nothing else to work off of, as long as everything's pacing on track, expecting personal best from her as well. And then of course we got a couple Brits underneath there. And it's relatively tight. Matt, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, it is tight. We've got Temi Tope. She goes by Temi Nuga. She's coached by again, teammate Christian Eindhoven, our 93 kilo representative. And Temi, this will be her second meet at 76 kilos. So she previously competed at 84. And so she came down late last year, lost a bit of weight, has competed twice at 76. She had a nice bump on her total after her first meet. And then at the British, she lifted well. She missed 2 lifts at the British, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, both of those were missed on technicalities. So it wasn't, I don't think she missed them on flat out strength. I think they were, judges' decisions there. And her training has recently looked to be on point. So excited about the opportunity there for Temi. And then of course we've got Bettina Hanlon as well. She's coached by former GB team head coach, Lawrence Farncombe. And her training is looking really good as well. Much like we said with Makeda, if you look at Bettina's training that we've seen, we have an athlete monitoring system, and we've been monitoring all the ladies and all the guys, and the videos that she's put in. She's doing the numbers that are there, and she's doing them at lower RPEs. So she's already above. I'm telling you, the total that you see there, that's old news. So I would fully anticipate, seeing an uptick from Bettina as well. And so, yeah, if you look at those totals, Ryan, after Laura and Clara, there's a little bit of a drop off, but then there's that cluster, between 3 and 5 and 6 there that's not separated by that much. And so, it's, again, sound like a broken record, but it just comes down to making attempts and just trying to sneak on and potentially get on the podium, or at least crack into that top 5 there. So both of these ladies are up to the task.
It looks like we have a battle. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Mo.
No, just picking off exactly what Matt said. I think both GB lifters will be in that hunt for the bronze medal. I mean, if you literally look at Bettina's performance at British Open, she missed all her third attempts and still ended up with a 520 kilo total. We normally hate playing this game because yes, you can go in and blow 500 kilos on your third attempt. Doesn't mean you're actually going to get it. But if you add Bet's third attempt numbers, automatically she goes on to a 543.5 kilo total. So that puts her confidently in third position. And also Temi's cutting into the weight class. All she needs to do is get that bench back into the 120s, and then she's into the 540s also. So we can have a very, very interesting battle on our hands. It just depends on, like Matt said, making attempts and turning up in your best form on the day, and just putting up on the platform and seeing what happens.
It's good when you're going right into like the number 6 nomination and they're capable of getting onto the podium.
Yeah.
That's when you got some tight battles. That's what sport's all about. And I'm intrigued by Laura and Clara in the battle there, because she's full well capable. And again, it's tough to pull when it comes to her training numbers, because she trains sub max, but she shows up on the day and she gets to eat into this. But yeah, I agree with you, gentlemen. Look, I think Laura's going to go sub 600. I don't think the spread on her and Clara is that great that she could kind of just trounce her and not have to worry and look behind her. You start reaching a little too far, you don't want to look past Clara. Clara will catch you lacking if you start doing things like that. And by the time they all go to the world championships, now you might need 600. So secure the win, add kilos onto your personal best platform. And then when you go to the world championships, if you want to end up on that podium, and you'll have more time, earn loading up 600, hit, 590, whatever. put those kilos you put into training onto the platform, and then we start talking a little bit more. And you probably will need it, but it's exciting to have another contender rise up from France like that. And start emerging. And when we go to the 76 kilo class at Worlds, let's see what she does. It's let's see what she does. So anything else we should say for the 76s before we move on to the 84s, gentlemen? All right. 84 kilo class. Obviously, we have a Brit here, and I'll let you guys speak to that. But we do have Christian Thorholz-Dortier from Iceland. Hasn't been doing a lot of posts, but if you guys watch, anyone listening what I'm talking about, if you guys have been watching the World Championships, multiple time world's medalist, full well capable, has hit as high as 590. This is back at Girl Power in 2022. So extremely strong, very capable, medaled at Worlds, can put up a massive total. But if she's not 40 yet, she's turning 40 this year. Hasn't been posting much of her training, and it looks like her total has been trending downwards. So it depends how she shows up. If it's a passing of the guard within Europe or not at the European scene, we'll have to see. And then you have Alison O'Reilly representing Ireland, 5 international meets since 2019, trained by Natalie Hansen. If you got international meets dating back over half a decade, she's not going to be overcome by the moment either. And we have, I'll let you guys actually go down the list, but let's talk about this Brit who's nominated first. Who wants to speak on it first?
You want to start, Matt?
No, I can go. I think one thing this is just a British fanboy moment, but I think it's amazing that we have Melina, we had Temi that's now moved into the 7-6, who's looking to make some damage in that class when she feels comfortable in it. And we had Erlov. We have three lifters from GB that could lock off podium for a
Yeah.
considerable amount of time. So I think that the amount of talent coming from the country into this weight class is really amazing. But Melina is a junior who's moved into the open, phenomenal bencher. I mean, that 130.5, I believe she's looking to blow past that on competition day. The squat is slowly starting to get there. She should be squatting a lot more, but I think it's just filling out the leverages, being more confident in herself. I think we're looking at potentially breaking into the 560s, 570s. I think she's long overdue such a PB total. It's just getting the bench to turn up on competition day and then the deadlift, which is always snappy. It's just she needs to pull the package together. But overall, I think also one person to keep an eye out will be the German, Leah. Jacked. I don't think you want to do a pose off Ryan with her.
Oh, dude, she's got 40-centimeter biceps. She's floating on the Instagram, her posing and whatnot. No, I'm good.
I think I'll avoid that one either too. But I think it'll be very interesting to see how, with that amount of muscle mass, it'll be very interesting to see how it translates onto competition day. Maybe she's come from a bodybuilding background and slowly getting into powerlifting. There isn't much, not much of a trainer on social media. But I think first is Melina. I think that's locked off, and then it's going to be a battle between Christine, Alison, and Leah as to how we're second and third fall in place. So.
I could tell you a little bit on Leah before we get Matt's opinion on this. So from Germany, competing since 2017. Yeah, to your point, it seems to be doing a lot of bodybuilding style training, like legitimately full on. Like her training you're gonna get from there is her like blasting biceps, etc. But she's a power lifter. Any opposition, don't get caught lacking here. 76 kilo class. She was the European champion last year. So she's a returning European champion, but she's moving up in weight. But she's a small 84. Got third in Euros in 2023. So she's been to the European Championships. She's been to the World Championships. She took fifth in the 3 lifts at Worlds. But again, a rather small. And you're right. Like she's muscular. She could. I don't know if she does do bodybuilding. She could, but for the weight class, relatively light. So if it comes down to body weight and she's fighting for that, it'll probably swing her way. And she's been competing since 2017 and obviously at the international scene. So she's a powerlifter through and through. We'll see what she ends up. Matt, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think you guys really touched all the bases really nicely. I don't have a whole lot to add on the other competitors. I'll just speak about Melina for just a moment. Had a strategy call with her actually this morning, and it's funny. One of the things that we've done is I have an intake form that I send out to everybody. Mo completed one; he knows all about this, and I ask everybody specifically, "What are your goals for these championships?" And I like lifters to create a hierarchy of goals so that you just don't have one goal, but you've got maybe two, three, even four goals. And I remember rolling through her goals list, and she's like, "Well, I think I want to get a bench medal, and I kind of just that's really what I'm looking for, and I just want to maybe if I can make the podium." And then once the final nominations came clear, and she's sitting up at the top there, that was one of the first questions I asked her this morning. I said, "Have you want to revisit your goals?" And she's like, "Oh, yes, absolutely." Now we know that the nominations don't always hold true to form. Matter of fact, we don't anoint her with the gold medal just because she's ranked first now. She has to go out, she has to show and prove. We say that all the time. This is a show and prove sport. But her training is really trending along nicely, Ryan. She errs on the side of being a little conservative, but talking to her and her coach, Joe Moore, she's willing to be nudged when appropriate and point in the right direction. And yeah, we're looking to add to that squat a little bit. The bench, as Mo alluded to, the 130.5 was comfortable. We're believing that she can trend beyond that, and the deadlift as well. So we're looking to tack on some kilos to that nominated total that you see there. I fully anticipate that she will, but respectfully, we've got to, be mindful of kind of fending off the challengers here coming up from behind, because you've got some seasoned veterans there. And of course, Kristen and Allison and Leah as well, an 8-time German champion, what have you. And so, yeah, that's kind of the lay of the land. There's not going to be any chips in play or anything like that because, this is Amanda Lawrence's class and she kind of rules the roost there, so to speak. But yeah, this is going to be one of those situations where, we're nominated in first and we have every intention of doing our very best to secure that and hold everybody off.
Let's move on to the 84 pluses. Last one here, fellas. And Sonita Mulu, fresh off of Sheffield, is coming to the European Championships. So I'm not entirely sure what she wants to, how she's going to feel when she gets here and what the game is going to be when she gets there. I seen that she squatted 300 kilos. That's a pretty big squat. And I think 317.5 for anyone listening is 700 pounds. If nothing else, she might load up 317.5. Obviously, at Sheffield, she went beyond that for her third. But this time at Euros, maybe she's coming for a big squat. Maybe for her third, she loads up 317.5, 318, whatever. And she wants to get that 700 pounds official. And then after that, it's all icing on the cake. You don't have to take the world total record for a ride or even try to push it too much. But she has a chance for some resolution on not being the first woman to squat 700 pounds. And she took 700 now, or sorry, she took 300 kilos in training for this. But she did give, I say that, but she did say this in the caption as well. My right quad gave out when walking out the squat, putting tremendous stress on my left quad, which is immediately sore. Luckily, no damage. So she said no damage, but it was a rough 300 kilos. Now, she hit it. If you watch it, she hit it. Look depth, look good. Relatively rough. 8 kilos more, it's not small, is the mark, but she's got time, especially if she really wants to focus on that 700-pound squat. And then the rest of the total, she's pretty comfortable. And by pretty comfortable, I don't want to bury all the information. And obviously, we have Team Britain in the mix here as well. But Mergier from France, we see some trends in terms of her totals, etc. So she's going to be well ahead of the rest of the pack. So she could probably focus on the squat and not overly worry about that total. But Matt, we were talking, you're seeing some trends here from Emilie Mergier of France.
Yeah, Emily Mercier, of course, no stranger to international competition, has represented France a multitude of times on the international stage. Former world record holder in the bench. Most recently, you may recall, Ryan, in Lithuania, kind of ping-pong that world record back and forth. Alexis Jones ultimately ended up with it. But when you take a look at Emily's open powerlifting, you see a trend over the last 5 meets or so of a steady decrease in body weight. And so as a super, as we all know, that affects your leverages significantly. And so subsequently, we've seen a drop in total as well. So the question remains is that, what body weight is she going to come in at? And then what's her total going to look like corresponding to said body weight? And so it's one of those situations where if you're just peeking at the nominations, there's clear gaps. I mean, there's a huge gap between Sonmita and Emily, and then of course another drop off before we get to a Quinn, the GB lifter. And so, but having said that, when Emily has dropped significant body weight, her total has come down as well. And conversely, you've got a Quinn now who's trending in the opposite direction, where she's packing on some muscle, she's packing on some size, and she's got a huge deadlift, and her training is trending nicely. And so it's one of those situations where if Emily does come in, at a lighter body weight, and I think her most recent performance, she missed quite a few lifts and has an off day, we could have a situation where Quinn is no longer, thinking, hey, I'm just trying to be bronze here. I'm looking at snagging silver. So I think that's kind of the conversation and the line of thought that we're having. And based upon the way that a Quinn's training is trending, she's coached by Alex Pearson Jones. And of course, Alex will be coaching her on the day. The way that her training is trending, I fully anticipate PBs probably across the board from her. So yeah, that's kind of how I see things shaping up.
What do you think, Money Mo?
I think it's pretty much the same. I think it's Sunita's. It's never Sunita's to lose because I don't know if that's even possible. So generally speaking, the question is what does she want to do on the day, which no one's really sure. I think she left Sheffield unhappy with her performance, which is interesting because she came third, but I know she really wanted to load something insane on the squat. So I believe they're coming back to load. I think her partner said a minimum of 315. I think that'll be amazing for the crowd at Euros to see. But I just hope she doesn't over, because realistically speaking, we want her to be healthy for IPF World and then build up back to that 320 plus. And she was talking about 800 kilo total. That sounds insane. We want you healthy, and let's save that for Sheffield. Let's get you back there again.
Right.
So it'll be very interesting to see what she does in training. Then second place normally would be Mergier's to lose. But again, we don't really know. I haven't seen much updates. The last and I saw was a bench, and it was 110 kilos. So I don't necessarily know how well her training is going. But I think she would have made it onto the French team, so she must be in some sort of good capacity or training ability. But if let's say that total has dropped to the 620s or 630s, Aquin has got a deadlift that can reach the stars. She's pulled 272.5. So if she needs to load up, she will load up.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's gonna be very, very exciting. I mean, the European record is 267.5 in this weight class, and then the world record is 273.5. So which one does she go for? Good question. If it's secure European record and secure third place, or go for the deadlift world record and get second place, these are questions she's going to need to answer on the day. But I think first, second, and third is pretty set in stone. But depending on Mezier, things might change up.
And to your guys' point here, like Matt, you had been speaking of Mergier in terms of the body weight and where the trend might be for her total. So previously, yes, like you see in the nominations what her total is, and you look at her open powerlifting, the biggest total she's had is 651.5. All right. But also, if you pay attention, at the European Championships last year, her body weight was 144.8 kilos. And her total was 650. But at the most recent championships in France, her body weight was 127.7 and her total is 590. So there is definitely a correlation in terms of the decrease here. So it might not be just is she better conditioned or was it a conditioning off or an injury? If the body weight's trending down, it appears as though the total might be trending down. Now, a piece of hope here is at 135 at the World Championships, she did 651.5. Now, we're still below 130. We're getting into the mid 120s now at this point for body weight. But we know at she doesn't have to be mid 140s. what she was previously. She lost 10 kilos and still kept her total up. So that's good. That's good. But from the mid 140s to the mid 130s, kept her total. But as you start getting into the mid 120s, can you still keep your total? It's kind of like talking about Timor in the men's section when the body weight starts coming down. Now, hers doesn't seem as drastic, but 10 kilos, look at 10 kilos the first time's one thing. You do another 10 kilos, you're talking 20 kilos total now. Like, this is a different human. You're a different human. Everything starts changing at this point. There's weight classes for a reason. So we'll have to see how it works out. Amazing opportunity for a Quinn and Team Britain, though, to bump in there and possibly take that silver.
And
we'll see how it shakes out.
For sure. And one of the luxuries that presumably, just looking at the nominations, again, they don't always hold true to form, but presumably the luxury that a Quinn would have is that, she'll be in a situation where if she does her job, she's not going to fall off podium, right? And so it's just a situation there, like Mo said, where she could just pick her spot. What color medal do I want? Let me take a swing at this thing. You know what I mean? Right. And if I can't lose third, why not go for second? I mean, come on. You know what I mean? And she's a conventional deadlifter. It's not sumo, so there's less kind of margin for error there, dancing on the line, so to speak. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be fun to see the way that it shakes out. And of course, Sunita, as you said, and as we all kind of said, how is she going to turn up? And then how much does she want to, quote unquote, drop the hammer in terms of the squat? And of course, we all want to see her healthy. And look, this is a meet where, matter of factly, she doesn't have to empty the tank. Respectfully to the other competitors, she can come in, she can kind of put it on cruise control. She can, do pretty much run the race that she wants to run on that day. And then it's like, hey, let's rock up, turn up for Worlds and be on our P's and Q's, because you've got some heavy hitters coming, with obviously Brittany Schlater and the likes of the others that are coming along at Worlds. And that's when you want to be your best.
Who knows? Maybe we see history made in the first woman to squat 700 pounds.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know. Listen, gentlemen, great job as always. Tons of notes, tons of research. You guys come well prepared. And thank you for all the takes you gave. And everybody listening, I thank you for tuning in once again. As per usual, please do give us high ratings. And until next time, six pack Lapadat, 6 up, and we are.